Okay, good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I'm Leia Ticabiso, taking up of Masters of Arts in Educational Management. My topic is all about the professionalization of teachings under the subtopic of historical perspective of the Philippines educational system. These are the objectives of my topic. First, trace back the historical roots of Philippines education. Second, recognize the different features of education under the certain historical periods. The Philippine educational system has undergone a significant transformation throughout history, reflecting the country's evolving political and social landscape. From its informal roots in pre-colonial times to its current states, the system has been shaped by various influences and each leaving a lasting mark on the way of Filipinos learn and are educated. The following slides are the periods of educational system in the Philippines. Okay, unahin na nating talakayin ang pre-Spanish before 1521. Education in pre-Spanish era was largely informal and decentralized. Learning was primarily practical and vocational, focused on skills necessary for survival and community life. And the children received their training from their parents and tribal tutors or leaders in areas like agriculture, fishing, weaving, and craftsmanship. And the 3 R's including reading, writing, and arithmetic were less emphasized in this period. The pre-Spanish Filipinos were a literate people, possessing their own alphabet known as the Alibata or Baybayin. This system is consisting of 17 symbols representing the vowels and consonants was used for reading and writing. The Alibata is a testament of indigenous Filipinos' cultural development and ability to communicate and record their knowledge. Okay, bagamat informal ang educational system during this period, mataas pa rin yung antas ng nakakabasa at nakakasulat sa mga sinaunang Pilipino. At simple lang ang kanilang ginamit na panulat gaya ng dulo ng kutsilyo at mga matutulis na bakal na tinatawag nating sipol. At ang mga katas ng halaman ang siyang nagsilbing tinta sa mga dahon, balat ng punong kahoy at bias ng kawayan sila sumulat. At sinundan nga ito ng Spanish colonial era noong 1521 to 1898. The Spanish colonization brought about a formal educational system heavily influenced by Catholic Church. The Spanish missionaries established schools and universities focused on teaching Christianity, Spanish language, and Spanish culture. School for boys known as the colegios, and school for girls known as the beaterios, kung saan sa panahong ito, hiwalay ang babae at lalaki ng paaralan. And during this period, Spanish introduced the printing presses, and the first book printed in the Philippines was a Doctrina Christiana. It is a religious text published in 1593. The Universal Education Decree of 1863 aimed to provide a public school for all Filipinos regardless of race or social class. The accessible educational system fostered the emergence of a group of Filipino intellectuals known as the Ilustrados. The Ilustrados played a crucial role in the propaganda movement that advocated for reforms and ultimately inspired the Philippine Revolution. At pagkatapos nga ng Spanish colonial era, sinundan ito ng revolutionary government noong 1898 to 1899. Following the Spanish-American War, the First Philippine Republic under President Emilio Aguinaldo sought to establish a new educational system, and the school closed during the transition were reopened. The new institution like Burgos Institute, the Military Academy of Malolos, and the Literary University of the Philippines were established during this period. The Malolos Constitution established a free and compulsory education for all Filipinos. At maikli nga lang ang panahong ito ay nagmarka ng pagbabago patungo sa mas secular at inklusibong diskarte sa edukasyon. At sinundan nga ito ng American regime noong 1899 to 1941. The American occupation brought about a major transformation in the Philippine educational system, introducing a secularized, English-based, and centralized system. The Schirman Commission, tasked with formulating educational policies, recommended a secularized and free public school system. And the Taft Commission, following President McKinley's instruction, enforced the pre-primary instruction that aimed to train the citizens and equip them for vocational skill. And during this period, English became the medium of instruction. At sa panahong ito, pinayagan nga ang mga kababaihan at mga mahihirap na Pilipino na makapag-aral. Nagkaroon ng pampubliko at pribadong paaralan na hindi pagmamay-ari ng simbahan. At tumaas nga ang bilang ng mga mag-aaral, kung kaya't kinakailangan ng maraming gurong magtuturo dito sa Pilipinas. Ang Thomasites ang unang gurong pinadala dito sa Pilipinas noong 1901 sakay ng barkong SS Thomas. At pagkatapos nga ng American regime, sinundan ito ng Japanese occupation in year 1941 to 1945. The Japanese occupation disrupted the American educational system, introducing their own policies and emphasizing Japanese language and culture. The Japanese encouraged to use the Tagalog as the national language, promoting the sense of Filipino identity. And during this period, Japanese education emphasized the character education, emphasizing the values like love of work and dignity of labor. Education was limited due to wartime condition, and the Japanese focused to promote its own ideology, at kung saan kinilala nga natin yung Japanese na mapagmahal sa kanilang trabaho at may dignidad sa kanilang paggawa. At pagkatapos nga ng Japanese occupation, sinundan ito ng huling yugto. Ito ay ang post-World War II in year 1945 to present. After the Second World War, patuloy ngang umunlad ang sistema ng edukasyon dito sa Pilipinas upang umangkop sa anumang pagbabagong prioridad ng bansa. At sa taong 1947, the Department of Instruction was renamed the Department of Education, consolidating the administration of public and private school. At sa taong 1994, the trifocal educational system was established. This system divided into three separate agencies. First, the Department of Education, DepEd, responsible for basic education, including elementary and secondary levels. Second, the Commission on Higher Education, CHED, oversees tertiary education and degree programs. Third, the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority manage technical vocation education and training. This decentralization aimed to streamline the educational services and promote the specialization in different levels of education. At sa taong 2001, Republic Act 9155, also known the Governance of Basic Education Act, was passed, transforming the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports into the Department of Education and emphasizing the school-based management. At noong taong 2013, K-12 curriculum was implemented, extending the basic education from 10 years to 12 years, aligning the educational system into the international standard. At ngayong taong 2024, pinatupad ng DepEd ang matatag curriculum na may temang Bansang Makabata, Batang Bansa, kung saan isa nga itong mahalagang hakbang sa pagpapabuti ng kalidad ng edukasyon dito sa Pilipinas. At ang layunin nga ng matatag curriculum ay hubugin ang mga mag-aaral sa mas malalim na pagmamahal sa bayan at may malakas na pagnanais na mag-ambag ng pag-unlad dito sa Pilipinas. At ang pag-aaral nga ng historical perspective ng sistema ng edukasyon dito sa Pilipinas ay napakahalaga upang maunawaan natin ang kasalukuyan at mas mahusay na magplano para sa hinaharap. Okay, naway meron po kayong natutunan sa aking tinalakay. At the next slide is the assessment questions and the related video about this topic. Thank you po.
Education has been around for a very long time. It started thousands of years ago. In ancient times, people learned in different ways. Each civilization had its own methods. Let's look at some early education systems. In Mesopotamia, schools were for boys from rich families. They learned to read and write. They used clay tablets and a writing system called cuneiform. Math was also important. They needed it for trade and building. Teachers were strict and often used punishment. Ancient Egypt had schools too. They were called the houses of life. These schools taught writing, math and religion. Only boys could go to school. They learned to be scribes. Scribes were important in Egyptian society. They kept records and wrote important documents. In ancient Greece, education was different. They focused on the whole person. This meant body and mind. Boys learned reading, writing and math, but they also did sports and music. In Sparta, education was mostly about making good soldiers. In Athens, it was about making good citizens. After the fall of Rome, education changed a lot. The Middle Ages began. The church was very important. Most schools were run by monks. They taught reading, writing and Latin. Only boys from rich families went to school. Universities started to appear. The first was in Bologna, Italy in 1088. More opened in Paris, Oxford and Cambridge. They taught law, medicine and theology. The Renaissance brought new ideas. People became interested in ancient Greek and Roman writings. Education became more about the individual. Young Comenius thought everyone should go to school, even girls. His ideas helped shape modern education. The scientific revolution changed how people thought about the world. It started in the 16th century. Scientists like Galileo and Newton made big discoveries. They showed that the world followed natural laws. This new way of thinking affected education too. Schools started to teach more science and math. They used experiments to learn about nature. This was very different from before. In the past, people just read old books to learn. Now they started to ask questions and find answers themselves. The Enlightenment came after the scientific revolution. It was a time of new ideas about society and human rights. People like John Locke wrote about education. He said that children's minds were like blank slates. He thought education should help fill these slates with knowledge. During this time, more people started to think education was important for everyone, not just for rich boys. Some countries started public schools. These schools were free for all children. This was a big change. It meant more people could learn to read and write. Section 4. The rise of modern education systems. In the 19th century, modern education systems began to take shape. Many countries started to make laws about education. These laws said all children had to go to school. This was called compulsory education. It was a big step forward. The United States passed laws for public schools in every state. In 1870, England made education compulsory for all children. Other countries followed. This meant more children went to school than ever before. It changed society in many ways. Schools started to look more like they do today. They had classrooms with desks. Children were grouped by age. They learned subjects like reading, writing, math, and history. Teachers had more training. They used textbooks and blackboards to teach. During this time, some new ideas about education came up. Maria Montessori in Italy created a new way of teaching young children. She thought children should learn by doing things, not just listening. Her ideas are still used in many schools today. Section 5. Educational reforms, shaping the future of learning. As time went on, people kept trying to make education better. In the 20th century, there were many reforms. These changes tried to fix problems in schools. They also tried to make learning more fair for everyone. One big change was special education. This helped children with disabilities learn better. Schools started to have programs for these students. Another change was bilingual education. This helped students who spoke different languages at home. In many countries, people worked to end segregation in schools. This meant all children could go to the same schools, no matter their race. It was a long and difficult process, but it made education more fair and equal. There were also new ideas about how to teach. Some people thought schools should focus more on creativity. Others wanted more emphasis on science and technology. These debates continue today. People are always looking for ways to improve education. Technology in education, a new era of teaching and learning. Technology has changed education a lot. Computers and the internet have opened up new ways of learning. Students can now access information from all over the world. This has made learning more exciting and interactive. Many schools now use computers in the classroom. The internet has also made distance learning possible. This means people can take classes online. It's especially helpful for adults who want to keep learning. However, technology in education also has challenges. Not all students have access to computers or the internet at home. Schools and governments are working to solve this problem.